I want to make sure that people understand what DISC is. So, and then I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about who you are. And in that presentation that I delivered earlier this week, I posed a question to all of you. I said, what is the game that you can choose to play that is one that gives you an unfair competitive advantage versus your competition? How can you change this game that you're playing? Like, what are your gifts? What are your talents? How can you leverage them? And how can you create a game to where others are going to fall short because you're leveraging who you are? So DISC is an acronym. D, I, S, and C are the four letters. A high D is someone who is driven, type A personality. A high I is somebody who is extroverted, very connective, very social, a good networker. An S is someone who's a support person, someone who doesn't want to be the chief, is fully accepting of being the Indian that supports the chief. And then a C is somebody who is kind of in a controlling state, but I don't mean that in a negative way. They're really analytical, really thorough, and very methodical in their approach. You are a high I, like to a T, in every way, shape, and form. So you're an extroverted, gregarious, outgoing personality, flamboyant, all of these things. So how do you leverage this? Because I think that you're describing a situation where you're being true to who you are. So tell us a little bit about your orientation to this, what you learned about yourself, and how you're then taking that out in the world authentically to win and create a game that you have a competitive advantage.
Yeah, and I had no clue what DISC was when we were sitting in Costa Rica, and you were asking questions, and Tommy Blateau went around the room, because I can point out anybody here. He's like, look at Casey and his fucking hypercolor shirt over there. I know he's a high I. And I had hypercolor shirts like every day that week. And I was like, oh my God, what does this mean? And when we went through it, right? So like, I'm always going to see the positive in anything. I'm always going to see something that I can look forward to, no matter what happens. Like, I'm just an internal optimist, right? The market could be crashing, I'll spin it, right? And so, and I get my energy from people, right? So, like, understanding this, like, a lot of I was moving out of being one-on-ones. I was moving away from the client consoles, and then understanding that I get my energy from people. I started doing one-on-ones on Zoom again on every call, meeting people face to face, right? Understanding that like other high eyes are going to want me to compliment their shirt or their flowery dress or their bright colors. And if you walk around and see someone wearing a really bright color, compliment them and watch their smile light up because they want that interaction, right? So for me, is like just being around people and like even leaning into where I'm a member of a golf course and a country club, and like going there and being around people and making sure that I'm like talking with other people, because again, it's going to feed who I am. It's going to feed my energy, right? Having people over, at the house for dinner, or, going out and just being in public. Right. And so these things for me was like, again, my unfair advantage, like I don't really look at it in that way. Again, it's just who I am. And so like, I just going to continue to just dive deep into who I am and be that person. And some of that is being like, I've made so many mistakes in my life, like personally, on the work side, on the golf course, on everything. Like, I'm not afraid of it. I don't think it defines me. I think it makes it me who I am. I wouldn't change anything that's kind of come, in my past, because it's all made me to this person today.